This is a time for a reckoning. Welcome to today's show. I want to cover Usher, and it's been a while since I've actually mentioned Usher, but of course, Usher has been selected to do the halftime show at the Super Bowl. And of course, we always know the halftime show is filled with occult symbolism. It's so obvious to see, and of course, if they pick you to do the halftime show, the odds are that you've made what they call a human sacrifice at some point in time. Now, I've covered Usher. You can see Usher constantly holding up the 666 sign. Of course, what do people think he's actually doing? Is he MAGA? Oh, right, that's 666. I mean, is he making three-pointers? Because that's what I've always heard over the years. No, he's a devil worshiper. They all are. That's the only reason they become famous. You could see him doing the 666 many times. You could also see Usher doing all-seeing eye symbolism, symbols like holding up the heart. And again, the heart is a symbol you see celebrities do all of the time. The heart symbol actually goes back to, bagel origins, the symbol of the heart. And the reason you see celebrities constantly do that isn't because they're wonderful people. It's because they're ushering in the Antichrist. The Antichrist will be coming in the name of love. This love movement, this tolerance movement is about accepting sin, accepting all of these disgusting things that they are trying to normalize, of course, in the name of love. And the Antichrist will also be coming in the name of love, and many Christians will be deceived. You see a lot of Christians who copy their false idols like Usher, and they copy their symbols. How many people do the peace sign and photographs that they take? How many people now even hold up the 666 sign, don't even know what they're doing? And of course, we see people all the time holding up the heart symbol. So when I say human sacrifice is usually done, because it is, it's usually done before or after the person is announced to be a part of something big like the Super Bowl, or if they're going to win an Oscar or a Grammy or they get a big role, right? All these celebrities are linked to young or mysterious types of deaths. And Usher is no different now, being rolled in out of nowhere. Because remember, Usher hasn't been talked about. And even when Usher was somewhat big, he was never really big. But to get the Super Bowl, you have to be pretty big, pretty relevant. You got to be one of them. So for Usher to come back into the spotlight, it's very clear that Usher was clearly involved in some type of satanic offering. Now, if you look into Usher, you see that Aaron Spears, who was Usher's drummer, who was also the drummer for people like Lady Barfbag, Ariana Grande, Britney Spears, Miley Cyrus. I've covered each one of those people many times over, being connected to Satanism and the occult. In fact, most of them actually admit to it. Miley Cyrus doesn't hide it, right? Walking around wearing satanic shoes, talking about even being a monarch butterfly herself. Lady Barfbag openly admits to worshiping the devil. Many times I've shown you the clips of her saying, "Praise Satan, hail Satan." Right? Ariana Grande is another one who says God is a woman, mocking our Father in heaven. Britney Spears is, of course, somebody under extreme MK Ultra mind control who is one of them as well. So Aaron Spears, the drummer, is connected to all these people, mysteriously just dies on Halloween, during Halloween, right, Samhain? Halloween, of course, this is ritual season. October 30th, well, that's ritual season for you. And it looks like Aaron Spears was likely an offering because there's not really much information on his death. But if you look into Aaron Spears and his Instagram account, you can even see one of the logos he uses. You know, people would see that, they'd be like, that's Star Trek. Well, that's Vulcan, first of all. That symbol, of course, and then you see on the sides, they're really making a pentagram behind him. So clearly he was one of the sacrificial offerings. Then if you actually look into Usher, and you see Usher's connected to people like Michelle Lamy, okay, and Converse, her husband, Rick Owens. These people, I mean, do they look like regular people? Is this a regular person here? I mean, it looks like that's Usher with Lamy. And then, of course, if you look at her, or him, whatever you want to call it, there it is. It's just rubbing, black goo all over its face. But you know what I mean? It's normal. Don't you guys do that in your spare time when, your mom or dad come over or you're at a family party? Don't you say, hold on, let me just start rubbing black goo on my face? Or, do you go out to pick up things at the grocery store looking like demonic ghouls like these people do? This is Rick Owens and his wife, Michelle Lamy. Now, I'm not just saying it because they look like Satanists. I'm saying it because they literally are Satanists. And if you look at some of the things they rolled out with Converse, like this demon possession, pentagram inversion that they rolled out with Converse. Obviously, Converse has a lot of tie-ins with satanic shoes, etc. Lil Nas X. This is all Rick Owens, who's a good friend of Usher. And you can see them hanging out together. I mean, that was a photograph of them hanging out somewhere together, right? So, your tree is known by its fruits, right? But where do you know Usher is one of them? But he plays the cookie cutter role. So people out there think that Usher might be somebody clean and safe. They have a lot of these guys. They try to roll out where they try to make it seem like, oh, they're not satanic. Like, you have people who are satanic on the out in the open, and then you have people like Usher where people actually don't even know. They're just like, oh, okay, they just pick Usher. He's kind of, he's not really that relevant. Oh, no, he's a Satanist. He's even rap or whatever his music is. I don't know if it's rap or what the genre is, pop. But one of the songs I covered was Chains, which was pushing gun control and the racial agenda. And again, this is the provocateurs here. These are the agents of the government who are brainwashing the masses into the race agenda. This is all communist propaganda that they're pushing for control over our lives, even rap writing conspiracy, new world order, right? And then, of course, mentioning some of these false flag actors who were involved in some of these fake CIA operation shootings that never really occurred. And of course, as Usher is about to perform at the Super Bowl, well, of course they roll Usher out and make Usher trend, even though if you look closely, Usher was trending on YouTube this week with his new video, Ruin, okay? And he's got 300,000 views in a day, which is pretty bad for these people. Now, back in the day, I used to get 300,000 views myself, not being promoted. So for someone who is promoted like Usher, who is going to be put in the trending section because they're trying to gain momentum behind Usher, it's pretty pathetic that he could only garner 300,000 views. But they're pushing Usher out. And of course, if you just look at the video that's trending, some people think it's innocent and it's just Usher, it's not a big deal. You can see right in the video itself, you see the black and white Masonic checkerboard behind Usher as he's dancing in the kitchen. Everyone thinks it's just innocent fun. It's just Usher, right? You could see this ritual where they throw smoke up in the air. If you look into witchcraft practices and stuff, there are rituals that they do with this, with all sorts, with alchemy and smoke and powder. This is obviously, people are going to see this and they're going to be like, well, it's like LeBron James throwing the smoke in there. So it's a witchcraft ritual. Okay, LeBron James is one of them as well. I've covered him many times over. They're like, no, he's throwing chalk up in the air. Yeah, because, we all throw chalk up in the air like that. But everybody thinks that everything is just all fun and games. They don't realize that these people are practitioners in the occult. So throughout the video of Usher, we just see symbolism like that. We see black and white Masonic checkerboards. We see blatant all-seeing eye symbolism in the background. And as the video goes on, and it's just like kind of the same themes we always see, we see the red and white checkerboard on one of the characters in the song. And of course, the red and white checkerboard, in addition to the black and white checkerboard, the red usually means ritual sacrifice. That's what the red tile symbolizes, ritual sacrifice. You might notice that you see on pizza boxes a lot, like the basic common theme, and that doesn't mean everybody who has a pizzeria is involved, of course not. But pizza, they've associated with the red and white checkerboard with pizza, which is also a code word for something else, which you can't talk about here on this platform. So you could see the red and white, which of course makes you believe that Usher was involved somehow in the sacrifice of his drummer. He spoke at the funeral, put on a dramatic performance of crying, probably feeling, guilty for what he was involved in because his blood is on his hands and on all these people's hands. Because the only reason and the only way you become famous is sacrifice. Now, in the past, I've covered in a lot of videos the connection between almost every single celebrity to some mysterious type of deaths that surround them. Kanye West, Bruno Mars, Jennifer Hudson, right? Massacres, family massacres. This is always the ritual offering. Then suddenly these people on the outside become famous. Now, a lot of them are bred into fame, which people out there don't realize. But if other people who get in from the outside obviously have to make massive sacrifice along the way. And if they ever, of course, betray them, these people are already cloned and there's multiple versions of them. And people out there think that that's crazy. I've covered it a million times, where we all know cloning is actually real. And we've seen some of the failed cloning attempts, even Kanye West or people like Jamie Foxx, etc. But Usher is another one where people believe that he possibly is a clone as well. It doesn't really look the same as he used to. Now it looks like another version of him may have been rolled out. However, I'm fully sure that Usher, no matter whether it's a clone or not, is going to put on one heck of a satanic performance at the Super Bowl for all the people out there. And again, Usher plays the role of cookie cutter, right? So people out there, they're going to say, Usher isn't one of them. Look at Usher. He's smiling. He looks like a little baby. He's a great guy. That's the role that people like Usher play. They need guys like Usher because it's so out of the realm of possibility how they're presented to us that someone like Usher could be committing human sacrifice or be in the occult. But it's always around us, right? Usher's always throwing up the 666 sign. Can he explain what it means? Did Usher just grab a basketball and make a three-pointer? Of course not. Is Usher a conservative? Well, of course not. He's not doing MAGA because you're not allowed to be a celebrity and be openly a Republican because it's part of the PSYOP that they're doing where they're gaslighting conservatives against Hollywood, etc. So Usher's obviously not doing that. So he loves doing stuff like that, holding his hand over his eyes. And again, guilt by association is just another thing, right? Like if you ever caught me out with Michelle Lamy and Rick Owens, you could come up to me and you could punt me in the balls, okay? These people always associate with one another. Whether someone like Usher is cookie cutter clean, they see them with these devil worshippers, like, oh, well, they're fashion designers, so, it's, no, they're witches and Satanists. And so are these celebrities. That's why they're all connected to each other. None of them got there by being talented. They all got there because they're in the same club. And guess what? You ain't in it. I thank everybody for being here on A Time for Reckoning. Hope you're all well. God bless you and your families as always.